I've been waiting to do this mod on one of my 3 Camaros for a while now. See the hood? I'm taking this hardwood Pro Touring style hood and I'm going to restore it because this hood right here has been sitting in the back of a shop for years upon years. I think actually they discontinued this hood. And this thing was filled with leaves, animals, and there's some barnacles on it. And I'm gonna have to restore it, and then I'm gonna paint it and put it on top of my '69 Camaro Vendetta. I actually think it looks great. It's kind of aggressive, but it's more aggressive in a way that I think is very harmonious with the rest of the aggressiveness of the car. It being on a '69 Camaro is one thing, but we're gonna really see if, as a whole, plus the rest of my parts and the other modifications, if it looks really sweet. One of the coolest aspects about this hood is actually that intake, that kind of vent right there, right in the middle of the power bulge. Now, that vent and bulge itself is very reminiscent of the AAR Cudas of the time, I think 71, 72, 73. And they themselves had that built into the hood, and it was a nice air intake for fresh air for the engine bay. I think that's actually pretty cool on this because you don't really see that more than maybe what you probably see equivalent would be maybe like a Stinger hood. Now, the thing about Stinger hoods, I just feel like they're a bit overdone. I like them, but I think for me, it's just not my taste, man. It's just not my taste. So on Vendetta, this route is a little different than what most people do, and I actually think it's going to be kind of fun, mainly because I always like to do things differently. Maybe to my detriment sometimes, but yeah, you know how it goes. Another really interesting aspect of this hood is that underneath the bottom of the hood, it doesn't have any provisions as far as braces and rigidity stuff, but it literally is a smooth underhood. Now, I plan to do some airbrushing on the bottom of the hood, similar to my other cars. Finally got the hood all sanded down and prepped. I got up to 600 grit on that one, and in the process I decided to clearance that front air intake when normally it's actually closed off because not functional, but I want it to function. So I opened it up and now it's clear. Got the little screen, but now it's completely clear. Hard to see, but you can kind of see right there. I did a little bit of body work on the inside, kind of like pretty it up once I actually paint it. And I got the screen back on it like that. Bam! This whole time that I've been working on the car and working on the front end with that hood, I started to see just how aggressive this thing is getting in the front. I had an idea from a while back ago that I had actually wanted to do on Vengeance, but I think it's perfect for this particular car, for Vendetta. I think I'm gonna try it here, and it's actually something to do with the rear spoiler. Come with me and check this out. Let's see how it looks. So now I got the rear wing clearanced so I can inset the hinges. What I did was, I have a super long industrial hinge, and what I did was I cut it. Where'd the other half go? She done ran off and played in the yard. But anyways, so I have a large industrial hinge, and the hinge right here, I clipped it to actually be set down inside of the open negative area that is inside of the spoiler. So I'm going to actually inset it deeper so that the hinge rollers are pretty much flush with the tip of the original spoiler's end. And what happens is it's going to basically, I'm going to hard mount it in there. I'm going to put anchors on the inside, and then I'm going to fiberglass on the inside of the spoiler after I'm done with also some supports inside to make it one rigid attachment. So what did I do as far as like clearancing? I put you on speed when I did that, so I'll show you what it is. So essentially, I had clearanced it like that, all the way across. There are parts on it that have mounts for the spoiler inside of it, set in deep inside at the bottom. And those spoiler mounts are in the way. So I have to do a little bit of trimming on that top part, but I'm not gonna remove the whole thing. I'm only gonna make it to where I can have something to mount to. So, figuring all that, how to explain it while I'm getting this damn tripod straight. So here, it's gonna be like this. Set inside there just like that, right? There. See? And then, once I make the attachment's gonna probably come out to about not much more. And I'm gonna put it on these adjustable spoiler rods, race rods. And that will more or less kind of show you what I'm going for. And the next bit of this, you'll see the rest. All right. So I got the other side clearanced to go inside the spoiler now too. I cut little notches in my industrial hinge so that they can actually fit around the mounting points that are in the inside of the wing. So I am taking my final cuts, my final measurements and cuts to actually bond the two hinges together as they meet in the middle of the spoiler. Because basically once I actually get it together, I'm going to weld them together because there's a little bit of a pitch in between. Not enough of a pitch to leave it to where like it could have one complete hinge, because these hinges are very, very straight and very, very rigid. They can't arc over the crest of the peak on the rear spoiler. So I'm cutting the angle and canting it down and welding it together and setting it up. And I'm going to do a little bit of brushed treatment on it to get off some of this really shiny chrome finish that's on the hinges. But in a minute, I will get that all laid in. It's a little bit hard to see, but I actually now inset the hinges inside of the rear spoiler. And I made these little metal anchors inside of there, and I already fiberglassed them from the backside and had the anchors embedded into the fiberglass. So now she's solid inside there. It ain't going nowhere. Those hinges are essentially one with the spoiler now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to cut and shape. Well, I gotta cut and mount first the splitter wing, the little extension or whatever. And during this process, I gotta decide if I like the style. If I want it longer, taller, shorter. I have this little idea of these little like horns that are coming off the ends. Maybe I wanna like try them a little bit more, maybe try them a little bit less. It's all part of the design element of making the whole thing work as a whole. But really, since it's got the new hood on there, I really got to make the whole thing work in its entirety. I swear, one of the hardest things about modifying a car, especially if it's not modifying from parts off of the internet, is getting it proportionally exactly the way you want it. And right now, as I work on this rear spoiler on my 69 Camaro Vendetta here, I have to decide the height of the rear spoiler. And man, so the different heights I've done before, I've done on Vengeance, I've done on Stormy, different heights work on different models. So the 67, 68 works very well on Vengeance here. So Vengeance's height of the rear spoiler is roughly around like 7 inches or something like that. And this one, 7 inches doesn't exactly fit the right height that offsets the new hood, balance-wise, at least in my artistic eye. That's been the real big difficulty for me, is the actual artistic expression in the parts that I have to make. It's not something I can just buy and then it's fine. No, it's not fine, because my eyes will tell me, no, it ain't, buddy. No, you need to modify it. You gotta cut it up. You better build it up, fix it up. One way or another, I gotta answer it. So here we are, right? Now, I've taken a piece of kickboard and cut it to make like a little test idea as far as the height goes, right? Now that's kickboard, and the hinges are not embedded in yet. They're going to be. But I also need to start cutting the ABS to make the piece. Now I have to decide. So that kickboard is roughly around 3 inches tall or something like that. And I have to decide whether I want a 3-inch tall rear deck extension. All right, so that essentially would cause the whole rear spoiler to be roughly, all right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 inches. Okay, 9 inches. That's significantly taller than Vengeance's. Now Vengeance's looks pretty darn tall, wouldn't you say? And it looks gorgeous on her. I think it looks gorgeous, but not the same on Vendetta. So the reason why it doesn't look right on Vendetta is because the 69s have that bend in the side, the strake that goes all the way down, the surf line goes all the way down the side of the 69, and then finally it'll kick up like that. So when I had actually put this hood on, I had to be really considerate about how much it would basically accentuate the profile. So the profile on it now, 69s don't have that much of a bulge in the front. This has a significant bulge with the hood. So maybe you can kind of see like that. You can kind of see the actual profile of it. And plus with the chin spoiler I made for it, which is that one right there, you can kind of see just how aggressive and pointy the front end is. So that being said, I got to make sure that that rear tail matches. So here we go. I think I'm going to go ahead and go to war with it right now and make a final Shogun decision as far as how tall this rear extension will be. Stay with me. Just like that, the splitters are on. So this is my roughed in phase that I said earlier that I'm gonna try to design this as I go. I gotta put it on the car, off the car. And at this point, I'm trying these little ideas that I had kind of like stewing in my head for a while there, these little horns, if you will. Mainly because kind of Vendetta is like my little Red Devil 69 Camaro. And I like to give almost every single one of them their own little personal touch, which basically gives it character. And this is one of my little ideas that I've had in the back burner for a while there. Don't know if it's gonna work out the way I really want it to. So far, it seems okay. I'm gonna put it on the car. I'm gonna see how I like it. And I'm just gonna cut and shave and kind of style while on it, and then we'll figure out which one works the best. So all right, there you go. I got the wing on there now. Right now, here's one of the hardest parts, is now I have to actually step back and take a look and see if I like the way that it's coming out. So I already actually brought the length of the wing down an inch, because I just inside the shop, I just couldn't get past that. It looked just a hair too big. It looked good, but it was just a hair too big, and I think I might have nailed it this time. What do you think? Let me walk you over there. So, you know, I got her down to just about like that. Right, so literally now the wing is a little bit more, how do you want to say it? Subtle, but not quite subtle, because it's definitely not subtle. Maybe a little bit more in flow with the shape of the car, right? So it comes right off the back. So I'm still gonna take a moment to actually step back and look about the profile of it and see if that's actually working exactly the way that I hope and it's going to be. So far so good, seems that way. All right, so now the hood is painted. I had to do a little extra stuff to actually make the hardwood fiberglass hood sit right. The thing is about any fiberglass hood, a good portion of the time they're not going to be completely straight and lined up and solid as like a regular steel hood made for the car. It's close, but not that close. So I had to do a couple different things this time to actually make that hood a little bit more flush. One of the things that I did was I had to install these push button hood hinges, hood pins rather. These little push button clamping ends are quick release. So basically when the hood goes down, they click and pop in via these ball joints at the top. And that actually brings the corners of the hood down. Before it was doing something like this, right? So I decided to pull that down. The sides can't be helped, and there's not a lot of clearance as far as the hood, the actual hinges go. But I'm actually all right with that. I think it's just fine. I think it came out great as far as in final color. You can kind of see now what I was talking about as far as the bulge of the hood. The actual profile of the car now looks a little bit more pronounced. Plus, with the hole, with the air intake, it looks even more aggressive now that it's in final color. And you can kind of see to the back, you can kind of see the rear wing so far how it's gone down by its finished shape. Excuse me. God damn, I'm jumping all over my words. Now, that actual shape is pretty much the final shape that I'm going to stick to. And I'm going to start adding a little bit of cleanup on that. I'm debating whether I want to paint it. I think that's what I'm trying to really come to. I'm trying to think while talking at the same time about something that I feel like I haven't actually processed enough yet. But either or, there she goes. I really, really like how she looks now. I feel like the aggressiveness definitely suits the attitude of the car. And man, does it separate the look between my other cars and this one. Because really, man, the 69 is a difficult one. The 69 was a tough one. The shapes that are on it are not the same basic shapes that are on the 67, 68. I feel like the DNA of it really is important to get those modifications right. And I think I got it right, don't you think? That's looking kind of nasty, right? Yeah.